All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0, of course, are brought to us by the official beer of the program. You know, we're talking Johnny, Cuba, European roots, a Caribbean soul. Enjoy a refreshing German lager in a can while you're sitting in front of the television the entire weekend watching college football and week 1 of the NFL. Make sure you always drink responsibly, and don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. All right, so it's a Friday, which means you got great movies coming out. Now, you know I love doing big movie or not a big movie. So why don't let's get an actual film critic. Let's get someone who actually talks to the movie stars. And of course, our pal is Brad Gilmore. You hear him doing the Hall of Fame with Booker T on ESPN Radio and ESPN 97.5 in Houston. Brad, always good to see you. How you doing?
Zaz, I'm great. I appreciate the invite per the usual. Talking movies, talking wrestling, talking whatever with you is always a breeze.
You had a great appearance. What was it, about a month ago? We brought you on the Levitard show. Dan was out, but we brought you on the Levitard show to talk about your Back to the Future book.
Yeah, man. You know what? Why we love Back to the Future is the book that's still out now. We're actually coming up on October 15th, which is the day they went back to 2015. So we'll be 10 years removed from the future, as much as that sounds strange. But I enjoyed my appearance over there. You know, I felt like a boxer who knows, like, this is the fight. If I win this fight, I will be put on the map. And going on Levitard with you, especially, and with whatever kind of paraphernalia you were wearing on your dome there that day.
Oh, still wearing the wigs that day. That's right.
Yeah, I knew I had to hit out of the park. So I hope I did my best. I hope I delivered a few great combinations because it was a fun time.
I lost a bet is what happened there. I'm not wearing the wigs anymore. I stopped wearing the wigs maybe like 2 weeks ago, but for a good 2 months, I was wearing wigs because I lost a bet on the show. So I'm
well, you know what, though? I think that you were able to pull it off. You had the confidence. It didn't throw you off your game. And you also didn't lean into it too much. You played up the bit when you needed to. I don't know. I feel like you could do the wigs. I feel like George Costanza. Remember when he had the piece? It looked good. I think it looked good.
Of course. And then Elaine throws it out the window. Great episode. We're going to talk a little bit of wrestling, but let's start out with some movies that are coming out into the theaters soon, or they have just been released into the theaters. Waltzing with Brando. Tell me about this. I know it stars Billy Zane. Is he playing Marlon Brando in this?
Billy Zane is playing Marlon Brando in this, and I will tell you, I always get a little squeamish about biopics because they tend to, always follow a very similar formula. Here they are in their early life. There's some traumatic event. They discover their love for whatever it is, music or movies or acting, whatever it might be. And they use that to overcome the trauma, but then they get too big. And, it's just like, it's the formula that we've seen so many times. What I love about Waltzing with Brando is in a lot of ways, it reminded me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. And it reminded me, and was reminiscent because of this. It felt like a hang. I didn't have to worry too much about plot. What are they doing? There's definitely a goal that the characters are trying to achieve, but it just felt like you were hanging out in the effervescent essence of Marlon Brando. And Billy Zane went less for imitation in it, which I feel like some actors want to do the quintessential imitation of that titular character, in this case Brando, but he really embodied the essence of the character. And it follows Marlon Brando over a couple-year period while he's trying to create this Xanadu in Tahiti. And John Heater's in it. Tia Carrera is in it. There's some really great moments. And I really enjoyed this film. It was quickly one of my top 3 favorite. I talked to Billy Zane about the movie. We had a lovely chat. He's somebody, do you like bad, good movies? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Sure.
Good, bad movies that aren't great, but you love them anyway. So for me, number 1 on the list is The Phantom from 1996 with Billy Zane and Catherine Zeta-Jones, Treat Williams. So I loved getting to talk to him about The Phantom, and he's in Back to the Future as well. So we talked to him about being in Back to the Future. He's one of Biff's gang members.
That's right. Oh, in Back to the Future 3?
In all 3 of them.
Wow.
He's in all of them. Well, what's interesting is I think he auditioned for Biff originally, and they just liked him, so they cast him as one of the members of the gang. I think his
great.
character's name was Match. Match was his name in the movie. So it was great to talk to him. But this movie, I'll tell you what, John Heder, who you know as Napoleon Dynamite, is really fun in this movie. And Tia Carrera, who was the object of every young man's
Of
desire,
course.
continues to look sensational and has a fun role as well. This is like really catapulted to the top of one of my favorites of the year.
So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's your favorite Tarantino movie, huh? Because Tarantino's my favorite director. Pulp Fiction's my all-time favorite movie, but I do love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I had a funny experience when I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood the first time, because once I realized in the middle of the movie, oh shit, this is what they're doing here. That's Sharon Tate, and this is like the Manson farm, and I know the direction it's going in. I became really uneasy watching it because, like, I didn't want to watch them reenact Sharon Tate's brutal pregnant death. And so when we got to the final scene and it's like, oh, it's a fantasy, kind of like Inglourious Bastards was, I loved the ending of the movie.
I love the ending of the movie too. And again, what's great about the end is it literally says once upon a time, because this is all fiction. It's all fantasy. It's all make believe. But what stood out to me about that film and why it's my favorite Quentin Tarantino, which I love pretty much his entire filmography. I visited Pulp Fiction just last week. I rewatched the movie and it's so good. But I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because the first time I watched it, I hated the movie. I could not stand the movie. I go, wow, you got Brad and Leo, and this is what you came up with. And Margot, who was throwing 1,000 at that moment, coming off of Wolf of Wall Street, and she was on just such a hellacious run. Because I didn't get what they were doing. What they showed you, this is not a traditional one act, 2 act, 3 acts of a movie. This is a 3 days we're hanging out with these characters and seeing what their lives are like. So I ended up watching it on a plane from Orlando to from Vegas to Orlando, kind of a long flight. And I watched that movie and I got it. And when I landed, I go, this is a masterpiece. This is the best Quentin movie there's been. And I love that one. And here's the thing. Pulp Fiction is number 3 for me. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown's a great underrated movie. Great movie. Especially like when it came out, because I think it was the follow-up to Pulp Fiction.
It was.
So when it came out, it's like, I think people were kind of let down with it. You go back and watch Jackie Brown. It's a great movie.
Well, what's interesting about it is it's a Leonard Elmore novel that they adapted. And this came after Out of Sight, which is George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez, which is probably Jennifer Lopez's best acting performance I've seen. I think up there with Hustlers, which is another good one that she had. But that one was excellent. Her and Clooney had off the charts chemistry. And what I love is Quentin Tarantino invented the cinematic universe before Marvel did, because Michael Keaton's character is the same in Out of Sight and Jackie Brown. Same character. Oh, that's right. Love it. Love it.
You recently saw Caught Stealing, which is the new Austin Butler movie. That movie looks fun. I'm into that movie.
So Darren Aronofsky is a punk rock filmmaker at his heart. And, he did Requiem for a Dream. Obviously, he did Pie. There's so many big movies. He did Black Swan, which was a very moment movie where everyone were talking about it. My favorite forever, for obvious reasons, was Mickey Rourke as the wrestler. But even going into a couple years ago, where you had The Whale, which relaunched the career of Brendan Fraser and won him the Academy Award. Darren Aronofsky's great. And what I love about Caught Stealing is it does not seem like any Darren Aronofsky movie I've seen before. Not at all. Austin Butler, as good as he was in Elvis, as great as he was in Elvis, he's better in this movie.
I also like him in that biker movie.
Yes, he was great in that. In Bike Rider, he was great in that. This is his best performance. The movie takes place in the 90s. He is almost could have been ball player, had a big car accident, which ended up killing his best friend at the time. This is not spoilers. This is all in the synopsis. And he ends up moving to New York, and he's just a bar back until his neighbor, who's from across the pond, leaves and asks him to watch his cat for the weekend. And then hijinks ensue. And it is a movie that keeps you guessing as to what the hell is going to happen next. And when we think about the cast, not only is it Austin Butler, It is Zoe Kravitz and their chemistry, man. Oh my gosh, off the charts for what they feel. It's very steamy, very sexy. But then
Okay.
Liev Schreiber, Vincent D'Onofrio play two Orthodox Jewish guys who are hitmen as well, and they do
Yeah.
great. Regina King, Academy Award winner, plays the cop. Bad Bunny is in this movie, and Bad Bunny is a pretty damn good actor in everything I've seen him in.
He's good at everything he does.
Wrestler, rapper,
Yep.
actor, Bad Bunny is my guy. So the cast is great, and Austin Butler literally is in like 98% of every scene, and the movie rides on him. And this is one that you see in the theaters because it really delivers. It's funny because the movie's based in the 90s, and it feels of the 90s in the best way. You know, when it was a simple story, as when you had movies, and I guess this is going back to the 80s, but you had movies like Fletch, or you had movies like Beverly Hills Cop, where it was just man on a mission, and it felt small in scale. I think we're used to going to the movie theaters and seeing intergalactic battle with space creatures, or this or that or the third. This is a small story. You know, somebody wants money. Austin has it, and he's got to avoid, trouble at all cost. It also reminds me of movies like Get Shorty, or really like we just talked about with Get Out of Sight. It's like an Elmore Leonard novel. It's kind of what it feels like in the best way. So Darren Aronofsky and Jackie Brown gives you Caught Stealing.
And what about Highest to Lowest? That's the new Spike Lee movie with Denzel Washington, right?
Yes. So this is their fifth collaboration. First collaboration, almost 20 years. The last one was Inside Man. This stars Denzel as a guy named David King, who's kind of an L.A. Reid style music executive, whose son is kidnapped by A$AP Rocky, who's also a rapper who does very well. He plays a character named Young Felon. And the movie's about morality. But here's what I loved about the film is Denzel Washington is in it. That's what I loved about the movie. And I got to talk to Spike Lee. Spike Lee and I had a great time chatting. I think we talked more about the Rockets and the Knicks than we did about Highest to Lowest, because there is a generational rivalry between those two teams. And Zaz, I think that there's a possibility we could get a repeat of the Knicks and the Rockets in the finals this year. I think it's possible. It's possible. So Spike Lee and I have a wager on that. But Denzel is just so damn good. He's one of my top two favorite actors. It's him and Jack Nicholson. It's because they are so good at acting. It makes everyone else feel just a little bit less good. And sometimes it's to the movie's detriment, but not in this case. Everybody raises to the level.
I feel like someone brought this up with me recently. Where does he rank all time, Denzel?
I think he might be at number one. For me, he might be at number one.
Someone was saying that to me, that he's the greatest ever. And like, I had to think about it,
Well, I mean, look, there's a few guys you could think about, like what their run has looked like. You have to think about Tom Hanks has had a hell of a run for himself. You have to think about Marlon Brando. You have to think about De Niro, Pacino. Some of those names, obviously, they get thrown around a lot. Daniel Day-Lewis, of course, as well. But to me, Denzel's done the thing that is so difficult to do, is be able to deliver popcorn movies and serious dramas and be insanely great in all of them. Like, look, I'm going to run down real quick his 1990. So going from 89 was Glory. Then 1990, Heart Condition, Mo Better Blues, Ricochet, Malcolm X, The Pelican Brief, Philadelphia, Crimson Tide. Remember Crimson Tide?
Those four you just mentioned right there: Malcolm X, Crimson Tide, Pelican Brief, and
Philadelphia.
Come on.
Okay, then we go to late 90s. He Got Game, Bone Collector, both great, but then we start really getting into it. Remember the Titans, Training Day, John Q, all back to back to back. Then you go Man on Fire, Manchurian Candidate, Inside Man, Deja Vu, American Gangster. I mean, he continues just to always be on top of his game. Now, some movies aren't as great as others. I didn't love Gladiator 2. Not a big fan of that one, but that's okay. That's all right. He's still so incredible. And to me, he just has that ability to capture you on the screen. I mean, I think his first television movie when he was still on St. Elsewhere was called Hard Lessons. And he's just so good in this bad movie. He makes the movie watchable. So to me, he's a top guy. I think those names I mentioned, you could throw Sam Jackson in that conversation too. Maybe not from the thespian chops, but just from the ability to pick great projects. But I don't know who's better than Denzel in your mind.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind, like, where do we put Morgan Freeman?
Freeman's up there.
He's up there. Me personally, I'll see anything DiCaprio is in. I love DiCaprio, but
DiCaprio and Pitt are hard to beat as well. Yeah.
But yeah, Denzel is really high up there. Brad, tell everyone where they can, catch when you're talking to these A-list movie stars. Where can folks like in my neck of the woods be able to catch some of that?
Yeah. Definitely. So if you're outside of the greater Houston area, I put them all on a podcast feed, The Collection podcast of Brad Gilmore. I think we've done 160 interviews this year with huge names that you'll recognize. Anyone from Spike Lee, Ron Howard, we just had on last week, Jessica Alba, which, was a very difficult interview for me to do. I almost thought about not taking it, Zaz, because it's just like, what do you talk to Jessica Alba about? No, she was lovely. There's so many over there.
Did you ask her about Fantastic Four?
I didn't ask her about Fantastic Four, but trust me, look, I'm a kid of the 90s. All right. So when Fantastic Four came out, and the Invisible Woman was Jessica Alba, this was a transformative experience for me. Yes. Much like, I guess, young men in the 1980s when you had Elizabeth Shue in Adventures in Babysitting, or maybe even had Colleen.
What a movie. What a movie. I love that movie so much.
Or what about Colleen Camp as the nanny in Clue? Do you remember that one?
Of course, yes.
These are some formative moments for young men, and Jessica Alba as the Invisible Woman was that for me. And this is also the height of the Attitude Era, which we don't even have to go into. You can go check all those interviews out at The Collection. My interview with Billy Zane will be dropping here in a few weeks, so definitely check all that out.
I got a couple things for you here before I let you go, Brad. On the pro wrestling side, now, of course, yes. Brad does the Hall of Fame with Booker T. Brad's also, what's your title with Reality of Wrestling? I want to make sure I get it right.
I'm the showrunner, producer, and lead play-by-play announcer. If you can fit all that into one sentence seamlessly, you'll be better than I can.
Yes, that's Booker T's wrestling promotion, ROW, Reality of Wrestling. Couple things for you here. We seem to be headed in a direction with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. It looks like AJ Lee is going to return finally. Does that excite you?
Hell yeah. You know what? That's that ESPN, Netflix money coming in. What's the check that we can write for you, AJ Lee, to come back? There's no other payoff for this. There's no other payoff. They've booked themselves into a corner. If they give us anybody but AJ Lee, the collective internet will implode and explode, and we will see this. We will riot. If AJ doesn't show up, we will riot signs in the stands at whatever arena they inhabit, because that was a beautiful angle that they shot at the end of Clash in Paris with Becky Lynch. And to me, AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch at ESPN's WrestlePalooza. Then you throw in Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky. We know we're going to get Brock Lesnar and John Cena probably on that card. Cody Rhodes going to be in the mix with the World Championship. A WWE Championship. That WrestlePalooza is stacked. But AJ Lee, I think it's a surefire. I think we lead pipe lock it in, Zach.
Yeah, I love the ending to Clash in Paris with Becky. And I think Becky's been on fire. Like her last heel run when she would come out in the fancy get-ups, it never really hit for whatever reason. This seems to be hitting. Like, she comes off as a real bitch. And, of course, the way that with her on Raw this past week and smacking CM Punk all over the place, and he's got to retreat with his tail between his legs, that shit was really cool. So it looks like maybe as soon as tonight on SmackDown, AJ Lee returns, because Punk asked Adam Pearce the other night, where is SmackDown on Friday? And he said, Chicago. And then Punk was like, okay. So tonight could be an explosive night. It looks like we're getting AJ.
You just got me so excited. I just got so excited. See, this is the beauty of pro wrestling right now, is that I'm genuinely excited by what they're doing, especially John Cena in this last couple matches. We got him for 8-9 dates left.
He was his last two matches have been unbelievable.
Like his match with Cody's match of the year. I don't know a better match than that so far. And so him and Brock, I'm sure, going to tear it up. But I wanted to pose this question to you. A couple things before we go. First off, who is John Cena's last opponent?
I I'm hoping it's the final boss. And
Mm.
can we put a bow on whatever story they were trying to tell at Elimination Chamber and then into WrestleMania with The Rock? I'm hoping it's the final boss. I don't think I should get my hopes up too much, but that's my hope.
Well, I would love the final boss. I'm going to throw a big curveball your way.
Yeah.
What do you think about NXT's Obafemi? What a better way to launch a guy's career into the stratosphere.
I had this conversation with Peter Rosenberg last week, and he brought up how, it'd be great if he could, maybe you're putting over some young talent. Like he mentioned Carmelo Hayes, but if you're putting over some young talent, a guy like Obafemi, I think, and it's going to be on Saturday night's main event, which is Peacock. It's the big relationship. I think it has to be a huge name. And while it'd be great for Obafemi, of course, I think Cena's last opponent has to be a huge name.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Okay, if it's not Oba, if it's not The Rock, are we thinking Drew McIntyre? Are we thinking AJ Styles? Are we thinking Logan Paul in a rematch and Logan Paul beats John Cena?
It's got to be someone it's got to be someone who everyone's going to, boo hard because everyone's going to be cheering really hard for Cena to win. So whoever they choose, that's why, if it were the final boss, everyone hates Rock right now. Okay. So whoever they pick, it needs to be someone who everyone really dislikes. I'll say that.
Okay. I'm interested in that too.
Yeah.
Are you as big of a Nikki Bella fan as I am? So I'm all in on Nikki Bella.
I'm not.
You're not. Why not?
I think that she, in her prime, was a different time in women's wrestling than what we're seeing right now. I think all of these girls in today's WWE can run circles around her.
Well, okay. To me, though, be that as it may, this is a woman who's already had a 10+ year, longer than that, maybe 15+ year career with the company, couple-year layoff, motherhood, several other ventures, doesn't need to do this, is doing this out of the passion and the love for the business, and obviously to bring some exposure and attention to maybe other things that she's doing. But to me, I have been the biggest Nikki Bella stan as long as she's been around. Obviously, look, it's more than just, she's obviously a beautiful woman, but that's secondary to the fact of, I feel like this. I went to a show, SmackDown show at the Toyota Center. I saw a group of about 4 girls one time coming in. They all had Nikki Bella shirts on, or Bella Twins merch at the time. And I asked their dad, I'm like, so did you expose them to wrestling? Are they the reason, you're the reason they're here? He's like, no, total divas. They watch the show, so they want to come to the show. And the audience that show brought in my opinion, is what I'm fine with them being Hall of Famers. And I love that she's back. Brand name, marquee value. We can build some stars off of the name of Nikki Bella. But I just wanted to know what your take was, because I'm a big Nikki fan. Huge Nikki fan.
I mean, just the other day at Clash in Paris, you saw the girl who was dressed like her in the front row was hysterically crying just to even be close to Nikki Bella.
She's a superstar, man. She's a superstar. There's no doubt about it. And I love that she's back.
Brad, excellent job as always. Always great catching up with you. I love having someone now I could do some movie talk with. You're perfect.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime, call me.
Thank you. Awesome, Brad. Appreciate you, man. Be good.
Thanks, brother.